I had to snatch the mic from my partner, Nick, because this next speaker he's the last speaker of the night. He's one of my good friends, Justin Wu, best for last, as I like to say. I'm a Justin fan. So I'll tell you his background real quick. He is really the definition of an entrepreneur and a growth hacker. I've single-handedly watched him for the last 6 years grow the community around him, his own brand first and foremost. Justin's got one of the sickest LinkedIn brands, and really the biggest difference that I've seen between him, I've known him from like freshman year in college, man. I shouldn't admit my age, but basically, so he just is consistent. He puts the work in, and he's pivoted his way to success. One of his companies, Vitamin, they went from 0 to 1 million in their first year. Not bad, right? He did Kickstarter campaigns generating millions of dollars. Today, he's built one of the top brands in the blockchain space. That's his T-shirt, Biddle. It's a saying in the crypto space, and he's been able to do this really by strategy and a massive execution. So, without further ado, please give a warm round of applause to my friend Justin Wu.
Thanks for the intro.
Go, Justin.
Test. Hello. Well, hey everyone, how's it going? So today we're going to be talking about not specifically, this is just kind of like the bait headlines about how to run like a 7-figure campaign. But regardless whether you are running a Kickstarter campaign or not, whether you're B2C, B2B, or apps, what I want to show you here through this whole process is the methodology, and the mindset, and the growth hacks that we utilize to deploy and execute a multi-channel campaign, multi-funnel campaign in a short, condensed amount of time. And so hopefully I can kind of come here, give you a few takeaways from this talk here, whether, again, like whatever industry you're in, whatever topics you're in, hopefully you can go and learn something from this after this talk. So what I want you to come out from my talk here is kind of the growth hacker and growth mindset, and how the differences different than the typical, just like standard marketing or single channel specialist mindset. I also want you to think about planning. Now, we see a lot of talks out there, everybody wants to just go out, execute, build MVPs, and do things. But the best growth happens when you plan out all your steps. You already know all your steps ahead of you. Then you just go execute and you just go run with it. So we're going to talk about how to build the full growth roadmap, especially if you understand your whole sprint, and that will help you set the whole ground floor for you to execute with actionable tools. And I'll share my stacks, as well as a few different case studies across personal brands to influencer marketing to viral growth hacks. And this all kind of combines together too. So just to give you a little background about me, I moved to LA. I originally was born here in Seattle, born and raised down in Renton, went to University of Washington, studied informatics. Then I got into the marketing space when I learned to kind of combine my software development skills and project management and information architecture for marketing. It actually came out to be very well, since growth hacking became a very technical subject, which I'll show you a little bit more too, because now we're talking about building scripts, Chrome extensions, softwares, automation to help scale our ideas and experiments and run growth. So from that, everything I've been doing is just all growth hack. I'm normally an introvert, so I decided to really go out and create content every day on LinkedIn, Snapchat, etc. So people will come to me, and I do public speaking too, because I'm not really really great to go out and speak with other people. So that in itself was a growth hack. I wanted to round up a lot of influencers, so then I run an influencer-only event and Facebook group. I decided to kind of host a few different things in terms of like conferences, events, with a big difference where we're focusing heavily on value, more so than just stories out there. I mean, you see a lot of marketing talks out there talking about emotions, EQ, stories, all that stuff. We decided to just cut that. What if we built a conference and talks with just actionable tips, campaigns? I don't care if you come from Microsoft. I don't care if you come from a small startup. If you have an actual tip you can share, that's when we decided to create a growth hacking conference called Stacking Growth down in LA. Then we took it to San Francisco. Then I also just decided to, in 5 weeks, to launch the first blockchain conference with like 600 plus people next week, actually. And this is just all through combining all the tactics that we'll show you here today. So that's been my little bit background. But before I get more into how we ran these campaigns, I want you to get into the framework and mindset of growth hacking. Typically, growth hacking, or just marketing in general, just was focused on the business side, right? And then you have the engineers and developers focusing on the code and the product. Then you come in and bring in the UX, the UI guys come in and help. And then you might bring in somebody that understands behavior science or behavior psychology. Well, growth hacking, why it's so complex and why you don't see that much growth hackers out there is that it's a multidiscipline track, similar to like data science, where you have to understand statistics, mathematics, as well as domain knowledge and expertise. Growth hacking is the same way, and so that's why you don't really see that many growth hackers out there, but you see a lot of people implementing growth hack mindsets. And so just look at this, take a picture of it, or you can go look at growth hacking graph. And it all depends, like, where's your strengths? Where do you come from? If you're heavy business side, that's fine. You can come from the business side, but understand that you should go and understand how to code a little bit so you can speak to developers. And if you're a developer, you should definitely understand the business side so then you can be more full stack, a full stack marketer, full stack growth hacker out there. So I just want to share this to get kind of like the mindset of what we're looking at in terms of growth hacking and marketing. Now, when we look at as a marketer, we always think of everything as a funnel. Old school marketing, as a marketer, you always think about just generating mass awareness through like influencer marketing, PR, etc., and then just acquire and get sales in. And that was like old school marketing. And then growth marketing really came in there by looking at down all the way through the funnel by saying, okay, now we got our customer. How can we make them repeat customers? How can we get them to refer other people? And how can we scale up that growth to generate even more growth too? So it's just looking beyond that and thinking about funnels, thinking as everything as a funnel, and thinking about your customers from the journey from point A to point B. But as a growth hacker, we're not just running just one funnel. We're going to run a lot of funnels because growth is about experimentation. And that's one of the only biggest difference between growth marketing and growth hackers than a standard marketer is that typically we're just stuck in a standard just one specialized channel marketer will just run Snapchat ads and just wait, and that's it. No, we're going to run Snapchat ads. We're going to try some Facebook ads. We're going to run Google ads. We're going to learn how to do some YouTube videos. We're going to do some writing. We're going to do some podcasts because we're going to see what sticks. If one thing sticks, then we go double up on that and go further. Imagine working at like this times much experiments. You're doing like 10 times more potential than the next marketer out there. And so that's where you see a lot of the companies down in like Silicon Valley, LA, and they're just explosive with growth is because they're just running a lot of crazy experiments out there and finding what sticks. Whereas this more standard marketer is just like wait and see with one campaign. And if that fails, it's pretty binary. You're going to blame, oh, Snapchat sucks. Well, maybe your Snapchat ad sucks. Maybe your Snapchat story suck. We'll run multiple stories and find out what's best. And I'll show you there's a case that we've ran some ads out there where we were almost giving up, but we ran one ad to a different demographic than we didn't think, and it just exploded. So what I want you to think about, besides the growth hacking thing, is when I actually started doing my first crowdfunding campaign, I realized I was like, whoa, every startup entrepreneur, whether it be the founder or marketer, entrepreneur, you should all understand and take a look at the crowdfunders and what they're doing, because it's pretty crazy if you think about it. Kickstarters and Indiegogos are like the most condensed form of marketing and product launch out there. It's really like a do or die situation versus like you trying to launch a startup. You might take 1 to 3 years to build and validate. No, these guys have to launch. And if they don't launch and they fall flat, they're going to die. And they're treating it like every moment as that situation. And so if you're thinking more like the startup and more growth acceleration mindset, you got to think like this is like a do or die situation where you put in as much effort, because when you're launching a Kickstarter, you are just doing nonstop all day long, trying to really grow this, build up your email list, go on podcasts, get on PR. And typically these Kickstarter founders are like hardware developers and like, you know, like it's really crazy for them to go out and try to go and learn all these different forms of marketing just because they have to and put on these different hats. And so what I encourage you to do is to get into that mindset that you have to push yourself to those limits, whether you're running your own startup or not, because if you're not in that do or die situation, you're going to be too comfortable and you'll never hit that huge plateau of growth because you're not accelerating and push yourself to a accelerated timeline schedule similar to this. So, like I said, I think everybody should think and act like a Kickstarter, regardless of what you do. And most I think just standard startups out there that aren't running accelerated time are putting just part-time work. You just need to go full-time on growth, and then you'll run most of the experiments, and then you'll find kind of the traction you need. Because what growth really looks like is this chart right here. And I always like to say, like, growth is a process, it's a journey, a long-term game over time. When you think about growth hacks and you learn growth hacks out there, we will talk about how to exploit Craigslist, how to exploit Facebook. That might be great, and they'll give you that big spike, but then you go collapse. And so besides the growth hacks, and it's easy to get caught up with these like short, quick wins, you want to think about the long-term game on building a brand, building a content, and building authority. And so that's where you want to combine both, where you utilize growth hacks out there to give you these spikes, and then real brand and sustaining that through content marketing and bringing people through that whole process too. So just breaking down the anatomy of growth versus growth hacks. So this is one of the campaigns that I ran. This was actually my second Kickstarter. We ran 2.5 million in 30 days. What my title doesn't say is we actually ran a 60-day pre-launch campaign, and that proves to be very important. This project ended up raising a pretty good amount. Then ended up working with other hardware projects, replicating the model. And again, what we did now was just like identify how can we break down the processes of each of these steps and map that all out, because planning is going to be very important, because you're going to try to run all these different marketing channels from like Snapchat, Instagram, podcasts, PR, etc. If you really don't have a game plan, you're just going to be like distracted and ad hoc, and you're just going to have no strategy to it. And so again, like this accelerated time schedule and combined with some planning with your sprints will really help you think about all your steps, or at least let you understand where your weaknesses are. So then you can immediately call for friends, call for resources, or find those answers as you are kind of like charting out your plan too. Now, to run this campaign, you might ask, is there like a secret sauce? What's the secret magic button? Is there a single channel that helped us generate this growth? The answer is not. And the answer is what I called stacking growth. We did a little bit of Facebook ads. We did a little bit of Snapchat. We did a little bit of emails. Some of those generated 100 emails. Some of it generated 200 emails here. Facebook ads obviously went very well for us, so we accelerated the spend on that. But we started just experimenting all these different channels, and then just getting a few leads here, a few leads here. And then now we're putting it all into our funnel now, which is our email lists, and do what we call a multi-channel strategy, or stacking growth, which is the name of the conference too. We're combining and stacking over time. We'll try something a little bit. This one channel, it might work. Cool. Then we'll move on to the next. And then now we have 10 users. Now we have our first 100 users. We make sure that those are all evangelists. Then we go out to the next 200, and then that will then snowball and hopefully give you that hockey stick growth. There's no secret about that unless you're going to do some crazy growth hack out there, which is a unicorn situation. But my methodology has always been about just stair-stepping your way for growth, even if it just starts small, taking care of those people, and then keep going and adding more and adding more. A good strategy for me was just like I first started out with like Snapchat, creating a lot of content on there. Then I moved over to Twitter, and then I moved to one channel at a time. And then that's when I started really just building up my presence across all the different channels too. It wasn't just like one channel. It wasn't just like working on all channels at the same time, even though the end product looks like I'm on every single channel as much as possible. But that's through just like years of compounding and stacking that growth too. So that's kind of just like a little bit thought process behind that. So in terms of like growth planning, this is just like an example funnel here. So we kind of like sat down and just like mapped out the process there, thinking about the different channels from like social, going into like an inbound funnel. Obviously, inbound funnels will capture emails, and then the emails can be used for retargeting, ads to then refill our funnel further again too. So this is like a basic funnel. We just sat there and just like mapped out. Again, I think a lot of marketers out there, or even just like founders, are not mapping it out. They're just going to go and try out social. Then they're going to try out email a little bit, and it's not cohesive. And if you don't have this in order, then you're not really building that full funnel that is like self-fulfilling and refilling, as you say it. So we just sat there, and again, these are things that I might not have been a pro at ads before I ran ads, but we just know it's like, okay, we might need to go do some ads. We might need to do a landing page, content marketing, emails. But now since I have these plans, then I can go out and actually learn them, or I can bring a specialist in to come and fulfill these gaps in my knowledge where I have. And if you don't know, then you can have somebody come and build a funnel for you. But it lets you kind of like sit down and think about the process too. So once we have kind of like we identify all the different parts of the funnels, now we know what to look for, right? Now it's like, I need a landing page. Okay, then I go find a landing page tool. Instead of sitting there trying to find and consume all the content out there, it's like, there's like 10 lists of all top marketing tools. They're all like for different channels, different platforms. If you instead identify all the channels that you need or the tools that you need, then it's so much easier to go out and just Google what's the best social media tool out there, what's the best landing page tool out there, what's the best email tool out there, what's the best ad management tool out there. And then at that point, I don't spend as much time anymore because I just find the best from each of those categories. I'm not just sitting there trying to be distracted now, because the goal here is to move fast across multi of these channels and make the process easy. Again, if you're doing things ad hoc, then you're just getting like gaps in knowledge, and you'll never kind of fulfill that out. So here's a good example of a stack that I like to use in combination. It's a pretty good start. Almost all of them are freemium, except maybe Instapage. It has a free trial to use. And then what we like to do too, again, is just like going back and thinking about funnels, thinking about awareness, which is social, PR, ads, emails, into our funnel, which is our landing page, and then our email marketing campaigns and ads. So again, it's just like sitting down, taking a pause before we run, and then coming back out again. And so, what I'll do next in this next section here is actually go to talk about the campaign while also showing some tools and case studies. And then I'll leave it up to like anybody to ask questions about their startup or any growth hacks tools. I have such a limited amount of time, but hopefully kind of run through like a few things and the tools, and not only the tools, but how I utilize them to generate growth. So for us to manage all the social channels, we use Buffer. It's a free to use tool out there. You can definitely just plug in all your social handles. Another tool that I personally like to use is called Instapage. Why I like Instapage a lot is it's literally drag and drop. If you want to build a page, and you don't need any coding, you can just resize things. It shows you mobile form. You can move it around, and once you're done, you hit save. That's the page itself. And so you can immediately deploy pages at scale, at fast, without worrying about a developer, without spending thousands on that as well. You could do A/B testing super easily. It integrates directly into all your email systems. Really great tool to just deploy things, even if it's just a concept out there. If you have a WordPress site, you can just plug it in as well too. It just creates those landing pages super easy too. And so this will be really good in the future when we come down to experimentations, because for our Kickstarter pages, we were looking at all the different conversion rates. We had big video on top with a big product on top in the middle, whereas a more like white background as well to keep it clean. And so, we just did different hypotheses or guesses. Not all traffic and users are equal, but, we did utilize different split tests to see what's the highest converting, and kind of iterated from there. I think, again, like one of the biggest mistakes is that as a marketer, we're only going to run one landing page, and what if that landing page and copy sucks? Okay, you're going to be like, oh, the channel sucks. Oh, maybe the audience sucks. Well, what if your landing page sucks too? Like if you don't have that, you won't really know until you actually try it out there. So Instapage really helps you go around the experimentations. And again, it's just like coming up with variations, just come up with different color schemes, or just order different styles or look at all your competitors, and just kind of match different landing pages and see what works. And that's what we did for this Kickstarter campaign out there. We did different tests out there to try out different demographics and different audiences. One thing that we did too was we even split up some pages between some of the age groups out there. Like we had this tablet-like device, and so we're like, maybe teens and tech-savvy millennials and Gen Z will love this product, right? Because it's a tech tablet that can mirror your screen on any phone. But let's not stop there. Let's think about maybe moms might use this for cooking, or maybe like the 50-plus audience that just needs a portable computer. Now, a lot of our team was heavily leaning towards like tech millennials because we had a tech product. But had we just run that test, we would actually find out that actually failed, because they said, I can just go buy an iPad or something even more better that's not a second off brand. But then you go to the 50-plus-year-olds, was actually responded very, very well. That proved to be very good because they don't want to spend the $400 or $500. They didn't know about an iPad, or maybe they do. They just don't really care about it. And so again, like if we just stopped with one demographic test out there, even if we had like, I have no relations to like as this, but I have to put myself in the mindset of these different shoes and think about different situations for moms. Maybe we'll do a cooking video out there when using the tablet. Maybe we'll show it. Well, actually, let me show you the two videos. So for the millennials, we did a screen comparison. Again, like this tablet device mirrored your phone with like a mirror share, and so we showed a kid playing a game. This kind of did very well. We're like, okay, then we just got a lot of trolls, and they're like, this is trash. And we're like, okay, that's great. So then we created a different video with a grandma and a grandson. She was having a hard time reading her small phone. And so grandson saves the day, comes out, pulls it out of the backpack, the super screen. She's happy, and we go viral. Again, it's like and the thing too is like this gets really more in depth and depends how much resources you have. We didn't overinvest in this video because it was just a hypothesis and guess. We just made like a 1 minute skit in video to test that demo. And if that demo hit it off very well, then that's when we go and do like a full production video. Don't spend like 10 grand on just this video. Who knows? This could have flopped. Don't spend 10 grand on this video. This could have flopped. Just keep it social, keep it short and condensed to test that demographic out. And again, not only are we testing landing pages, we're testing some content ideas to really find and hone it in and to see, are we at fault for trying to assume, like if I show this to the grandma audience, I would be like, oh, grandmas are not our audience, right? And it would have completely failed. So you want to kind of like match the landing page, the messaging, the copy, and the creative to kind of match that whatever tests and variations that you're doing. And so that's kind of like what we did in terms of this experimentation too. And it could have failed, but again, like you want to go out and test it out. What a good segue into kind of testing out further was this tool called AdEspresso. What AdEspresso allows you to do is similar to like a landing page. You can come up with 5 different headlines, 5 different images, 5 different texts out there, and then it'll just go out and mash all different combinations. You don't have to do the guesswork anymore. You can do what we're doing on the landing page side, but on ads to see what performs well. Maybe like one word doesn't do well. Maybe an emoji really helps kind of blow things up too. So you never know until you try. And so AdEspresso helps you run those experimentation at scale. And it can even automate the ads that are performing bad for you and just kill them off for you and just give you the statistics. So it allows you to be very efficient at what you're doing. And so you don't really have to be as big of a master for ads. And so another good tool, I don't know if this works anymore actually since the last Facebook whacking all the APIs thanks to the whole Analytica issues. But I think that what's it called? AdEspresso does still have some examples of ads out there from your competitors and other people. And so if you're ever stuck with how should I go about creating my ads and creatives out there, go look at your competitors, whether you use a tool like Addicted if they're still functioning, or AdEspresso, or if not, just go to your competitors' pages, go to the website and get the retargeted ads as well, right? And then just start copying them, because what you'll see here is sometimes what you want to look for is social proof and comments and reactions. If they hit a good video, copy them, and then once you go out there, then you can go out and build derivative. You have a question about that? Yeah. Oh yeah, no worries. Yeah. 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 You. Yeah, but yeah, you'd be doing that, but it'd just be vetting in numbers. You're just boosting your own vetting in numbers, and so in the end, the bottom line, you're just. Oh, I did it both the wrong way and the right way too. So like I haven't gotten to that part yet. I always believe in combination of both. I think that you can juice up your pages for vanity. I've done it for a few different projects before, but you combine it with also real, then you're just going to explode even further. If you just had pure like fake it till you make it, it depends on what your goals are, right? If you're trying to impress somebody and that's their only KPI, that's cool. But if you want real sustain, then you got to back it up further, right? And so like Yeah, and that could be good in terms of like a growth hack, like generating like real like fake actions. I mean, like dating sites have utilized this because it gives the actual user base more interactions and notifications, as long as you're doing it in an intelligent way, and they've done it many times. The growth hack meter and ethical is up to you. I think that I've done some things like that before. So you combine. I always believe that you combine that potentially with standard growth and marketing, and then you're just gonna even explode further. But if you just did pure like fake it till you make it, you could grow. It's just yeah, 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 yeah. The thing is just like not being so stuck on these growth hacks and just be that's all you're about. You know, yeah, that's all. Because like you just be addicted to those short hacks, and then you'll get those spikes, and then like you won't have real growth and sustained. That's just my thoughts on that. And I'm not against those. I've done some crazy growth hacks and scrapes, which I'll share at the very end. We'll go more of the other growth hacks that I don't even have listed here, but yeah, we'll continue on the conversation of that. Though that's a good thing to bring up. Um, so another big secret that I have is called QAT. QAT now is now further down the funnel, viral. What it does is it allows people to refer other people. So you might see out there some contests where if you share, you get some points. If you refer other people, you get some points too out there. QAT helps you. There's another tool called Gleam. If you go look out there and just say viral giveaway contest, viral loops, you'll see these contests out there, and these are great because you can use these as lead magnets. You can throw away like free beef, Wagyu beef. You can go out and give away free growth hack lessons. You can give away ebooks, and this will help you explode because people are trying to win free stuff anyways all the time, and that will allow you to really accelerate and grow your list to insane levels like this. This is true stats right here. So this actually happened in 1 week with one of our clients. Um, it's a little bit unfair because crypto, we're giving out literally free money. So the incentives are there. But if you take one step back from crypto to just normal incentives and giving people a reason to sign up or refer, you could get, like most of my lists, at least doubled or tripled. And that's amazing because whatever dollar you put in, you double or triple it, you reduce your acquisition costs by double or triple. In this case, we did 3,000%. And not even that, the referral was referring more people, and it just got more exponential for this. And so the growth rate just exploded. Even the conversion rate you saw there, that's a very high conversion rate on our landing page too. Even you get like 5-10%. These are all different metrics to look at when you're looking at virality. Virality is a little bit different because now you're looking at a conversion on your landing page. Activation rate is actually people taking actions with engagements, actually posting on their social. Viral uplift is how much people are responding to your incentives and referring more people, and how much more that's referring more people. And the growth rate is just growth over time over too. So yeah, this is a big secret weapon that I've utilized for everything that I've done, whether it be for ICOs, whether it be for Kickstarters, whether it be for conferences, whether it be for ebooks, because you throw away incentives out there. Let's say you're doing a conference, then you just throw away like a free like consulting with one of the speakers there. Then yeah, you're gonna build up a lot more awareness immediately, even though it's not directly related to your conference. Now you just threw kind of like a bait out there, and then just use a tool like this to explode it further. You're gonna see some crazy growth. Um, and so yeah, so what we like to do too is now you go out, you run one of these contests. You can run another contest because now you have like an email list, and then you tell them to join this other contest, and it's just going to refer more people. And now you don't have to like spend any money at all to like blow up growth. And then you can use even influencers, right? See, I think the biggest mistakes that we'll do is we tell influencers to just go out and run a campaign and talk about a product. But if you put an influencer with like millions of followers, even like a couple 100,000, and you follow them into a contest, make the landing page look like it's their contest, even though it's falling to the same thing, and then just give a branded landing page to each influencer, you're going to see some crazy growth. And now you're going to really multiply your dollars in ad spend or influencer spend out there. Same thing with ads, social, email blasts. It's just nonstop. Everything that we do just pours into this. And then when somebody clicks and shares, it looks like a game. And then it goes out as a post in their channels, and it goes back to the landing page out there too. So that's something to think about. One of the big secrets out there. I'll go through really quickly. Email drips. I love this cool tool called Autopilot. Josh used to work there. Autopilot is a easy drag and drop tool to create funnels. It's super powerful because you can pull people into two different directions based on if they open or not, and you can hit them with automatic follow-up emails. They have a lot more other integrations that I personally like too, where you can, if somebody goes down one path, and this is great for B2B, by the way, like if somebody opens your emails and doesn't respond, you can actually put a specific retargeting pixel to that lane of people, which is amazing. And then you can remove them off the retargeting list too. You can even send them a postcard. There's so much integrations. You can send them a text. You can send them a pop-up notification on the website. It just does full tracking on your full funnel, no matter what you do. And so like this is a really great way to not assume and treat all your customers the same. And especially if somebody's opening up your emails all the time, hit them with more emails, like close them until they exit out, to a good thing. Then that's when you hit them with retargeting. You learn from Ty Lopez. You want to be omnipresent. You want to just follow them throughout until they I don't know.
We got time for 2 questions.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. 2 questions. We can just open questions, and then we can talk more after too. Oh, I mean, I haven't. Yeah. Well, I mean, like these are all our lists, so yeah, like they're all opt-in. You could run cold email lists in there too, which is but yeah, comply in however you feel or however you want to. Because there's a can spam at, but you can follow it and you cannot follow it, so it's up to you how you want to follow it too. So that's the tools. And then if you want copies of my slides, obviously you can go on all day long with tools. Another big one before closing up is Chatfuel. Chatbots has been a big asset for me too to reduce email costs and conversions. One thing that we did here for one of our Kickstarters, which is a life bulb campaign, was that we threw in a picture of this Tesla tower, and then we ran an ad to Tesla people, and we said, "Guess whose tower is this?" And they obviously know, and these people thought they were smart, and so they answered it. But what Chatfuel allows you to do is every time somebody responds on any content ad, a chatbot would immediately respond to them. And what's cool is you can actually retarget them. You can do push notifications. You can even ask for their emails. And so the thing is, every time when somebody talks or comments or responds, this shows back up into their newsfeed, into their friends. And so you're talking about acquisition costs that we reduced down to 40, 60 cents per subscriber chatbot versus like $1 to $3 per email lead ad out there. So yeah, that's another tool I like to use. Blah, blah, more stuff. I can go on forever. Lumen 5 is a great tool to create business insider style videos. Those go super viral. Always great. High converting. Canva is a free to use tool. Don't need Photoshop. Lets you crank out content really fast. Make it look really good. And yeah, that's it. So if you send me an email though, I'll send you my slides. If you have any questions, definitely let me know. We can chat more after. I guess they're kicking on us.
Thank you. Please give a round of applause for my friend Justin Wu. Crushed it. Good job.
And thanks for staying this late. I know it was late and there's a lot of growth happening too. So hopefully this was value, and thanks again for the Logic Inbound and everybody here.
My pleasure. Yeah, guys. So thank you so much for coming out.